What if I told you that the biggest obstacle between you and a flat stomach isn't what you eat for lunch, nor the miles you run on the treadmill, but what you do between 11 at night and 6 in the morning? Many people push themselves to exhaustion at the gym and spend the entire day counting every calorie, yet they ignore a fundamental biological fact. Your body only receives the green light to truly burn visceral fat during deep sleep. If you wake up tired, feel like your thinking is slow, and notice that your weight loss is stalled, the problem might not be your diet. It might be your pillow. Today, I'm going to open the black box of sleep and show you how a single night of poor sleep can hijack your hormones, slow down your metabolism, and force your body to store fat right around your waist as a pure survival mechanism. You'll understand that sleeping isn't just resting. It's the moment when your internal pharmacy goes to work regenerating your cells and cleaning out the metabolic waste from the previous day. If you want to turn your nights into a natural fat burning machine, this video was made for you. Hello, I'm Dr. Harrison Blake. I'm a medical specialist, and in 15 years of medical practice, I've seen patients who couldn't lose weight no matter what they tried finally lose belly fat simply by adjusting their sleep without changing a single word of their diet. If you want to understand the science of sleep and how it determines the size of your waistline, go ahead and click like, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. I will sleep better tonight. Many people think the body shuts down when we close our eyes, but the truth is that your metabolism enters an intensive work shift. In 15 years of medical practice, I've always explained to my patients that deep sleep is prime time for our internal pharmacy. It's during the deepest stages of sleep, known as N3 sleep, that your brain signals the pituitary gland to release GH, or growth hormone. Although the name suggests it's only related to children's growth, in adults GH has a vital function. It is one of the most powerful lipolytic agents, meaning a natural fat breaker. GH acts like a signal telling your cells, stop using blood sugar and start mobilizing stored fat to regenerate tissues. If you don't reach deep sleep, or if your sleep is constantly interrupted, that GH peak simply doesn't happen. Without GH, your body loses a window of opportunity to burn visceral fat while you rest. That's why people who sleep poorly often feel that their body is puffy and flabby. You didn't give your body the hormonal tool it needs for muscle maintenance and fat burning. Beyond the hormonal issue, sleep is also the moment of brain cleansing. Our brain has a cleaning system called the glymphatic system. Imagine that during the day, the activity of your neurons generates metabolic trash, toxins that accumulate between cells. If you don't sleep enough, this drainage system can't remove those toxins. The next day, your brain is inflamed. And as we discussed in previous videos, an inflamed brain sends stress signals throughout the body, which slows metabolism and prevents fat from being released. Another crucial point is that GH works in balance with insulin. If you eat a heavy, carbohydrate-rich meal right before bed, your insulin rises. Since insulin and GH are antagonists, high insulin blocks the release of growth hormone. In other words, you might sleep 8 hours, but if you went to bed with high blood sugar, you sabotage your nighttime fat burning. In 15 years of medicine, I've seen that small adjustments in the timing of the last meal can double the effectiveness of your natural GH. So understand this. Sleep is not wasted time. It's the moment when you pay your metabolic bill for the day. Without this cleansing and without the GH peak, your body remains in a state of incomplete repair, accumulating inflammation and visceral fat. The quality of your sleep determines how efficiently your body will use belly fat as fuel over the next 24 hours. Have you ever noticed that after a terrible night of sleep, your desire to eat salad disappears, and all your body begs for is bread, sweets, or sugary coffee? That's not a coincidence, and it's certainly not a lack of discipline. It's the result of a direct imbalance in two hormones that control your appetite, ghrelin and leptin. When you don't get enough sleep, your body enters an energy alert state, and the first thing it does is change the signals sent from your stomach to your brain. Ghrelin is the hormone that tells your brain, "Hey, I'm hungry, eat now." In 15 years of clinical practice, I've seen studies proving that just one night of sleep deprivation, sleeping only 4 or 5 hours, increases ghrelin levels by up to 20%. That means you wake up physically hungrier. At the same time, your body reduces the production of leptin, the satiety hormone that should say, "That's enough. You already have energy stored in your belly. you can stop eating. With ghrelin high and leptin low, you become a bottomless eating machine. But the hijacking doesn't stop there. Lack of sleep affects an area of the brain called the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for judgment and logical decision-making. When you're tired, this area falls asleep, while the reward system, the part that seeks immediate pleasure, becomes hyperactive. That's why when you're sleep-deprived, you look at a donut and your brain reacts as if it's the most important thing in the world for your survival. You lose the ability to say no, because your biology is screaming for quick energy to compensate for fatigue. And there's a detail few people mention. When you sleep poorly, you tend to consume an average of 300 to 500 extra calories the next day. Worse yet, those extra calories don't come from broccoli or grilled chicken. Your hijacked brain specifically seeks refined carbohydrates and unhealthy fats. Why? Because they're ultra-fast sources of energy. Your body is trying to use food to keep you awake and functioning, since you didn't get the rest it needed. The final result of this equation is simple. More calories going in, less satiety being felt, and insulin rising to store all of that right in your belly. In 15 years of medicine, I tell my patients this. You can have the best diet in the world written on paper, but if you don't sleep, you won't be able to follow it. Sleep deprivation creates an environment where self-sabotage becomes inevitable. You're fighting against your own chemical nature. To shrink your belly, you first need to calm these hunger hormones through restorative sleep. Only then will your brain regain control, and you'll once again have the power to choose what goes on your plate, instead of being a slave to impulses generated by fatigue. If the hunger hijacking was already a serious problem, what happens inside your bloodstream after a bad night of sleep is even more alarming. In 15 years of clinical practice, I've followed studies showing something astonishing. If we take a healthy young adult and restrict their sleep to just 4 hours per night for 1 week, their blood sugar levels and insulin response become identical to those of a pre-diabetic individual. This happens because sleep deprivation causes what we call acute insulin resistance. Your cells literally close their doors to sugar, forcing your pancreas to produce an industrial amount of insulin to compensate. As we've learned in other videos, high insulin is the switch that turns on fat storage mode and turns off fat burning mode. In other words, even if you manage to maintain your diet the day after a bad night's sleep, your body will be biologically programmed to store any calories you consume, and the favorite storage location is the visceral region. You are literally trying to swim against a powerful hormonal current. Added to this insulin chaos is the grand entrance of cortisol. Cortisol is our stress hormone, and it has a natural rhythm. It should be high in the morning to wake us up and low at night to allow us to sleep. When you don't get enough rest, your body interprets that as a survival threat. For your primitive brain, if you didn't sleep, maybe you were running from a predator or facing a catastrophe. The result? Your adrenal glands dump cortisol into your bloodstream to keep you alert by force. The problem is that chronically high cortisol is the best friend of belly fat. It signals the body to break down muscle tissue from the legs and arms to convert it into quick energy glucose, and then stores the excess of that energy right there between your vital organs. That's why many people who sleep poorly develop the skinny fat look. Thin arms and legs, but a prominent, firm belly. Your body is sacrificing muscle to feed visceral fat in response to the stress of fatigue. In addition, elevated cortisol inhibits the conversion of thyroid hormone T4 into T3, which is the active form that truly determines the speed of your metabolism. In 15 years of medicine, I've seen many diagnoses of slow metabolism that were actually just a reflection of glands exhausted from lack of sleep. Your engine isn't broken. It's just operating in an emergency mode where conserving energy is the top priority. So understand this. The day after a sleepless or fragmented night isn't just a day of yawning and dark circles. It's a day when your body is chemically inflamed, insulin resistant, and flooded with cortisol. Try to lose weight in that state is like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. Before you look at the most expensive thermogenic supplement on the shelf, you need to look at the quality of the hours you spend with your eyes closed. Your metabolism doesn't need more stimulation. It needs biological safety, and that safety only comes through rest. Our body doesn't function randomly. It's governed by a central biological clock called the circadian cycle. Imagine you have an internal timer that signals when it's time to digest, when it's time to produce energy, and most importantly, when it's time to burn visceral fat. The main conductor of this clock is light. For millions of years, sunset was a signal for the body to begin producing melatonin, the hormone of darkness. But today we live in an artificial eternal daytime, surrounded by LED lights and smartphone screens. Melatonin is much more than a hormone that helps you fall asleep. It's one of the most powerful antioxidants in the human body and plays a fundamental role in regulating brown fat, a type of good fat that burns calories to generate heat. In 15 years of clinical practice, I explained to my patients that when you scroll on your phone in bed, the blue light emitted by the screen passes through your eyes and directly hits your hypothalamus. Your brain then interprets that it's still daytime and immediately stops producing melatonin. Without melatonin, your body doesn't receive the email announcing that night has arrived and that metabolism should shift into repair mode. The result? Your body stays in alert mode, keeping body temperature high and glucose levels elevated. This creates a circadian mismatch. It's as if your liver and pancreas are trying to sleep, while your brain is screaming that the sun is still shining. This internal conflict is one of the biggest drivers of abdominal fat accumulation in modern society. There's also another very common mistake: eating late at night. When you eat a large meal at 10 or 11 at night, you send a nutrition signal to the peripheral clocks of your organs, while your brain is trying to send a rest signal. This mismatch creates metabolic inflammation. Your body cannot process nutrients efficiently at night, and since insulin sensitivity is naturally higher during the day, that nighttime meal has a much shorter and more direct path to becoming visceral fat. Melatonin also helps regulate the permeability of your gut during the night. If you don't produce enough melatonin, your gut becomes leaky, allowing inflammatory toxins to enter the bloodstream. As we've already learned, inflammation is the #1 fuel for belly growth. Protecting your melatonin means protecting the integrity of your metabolism. In 15 years of medicine, I've seen that restoring circadian rhythm is the secret of patients who lose weight effortlessly. By respecting the biology of light and darkness, you allow your body to do what it was designed to do: store energy while the sun is high and burn the energy while you rest under the light of the moon. Your biological clock is the guardian of your waistline. If you take care of it, it will take care of your fat burning automatically. Many patients tell me, "Doctor, I even go to bed early, but my sleep is light or I wake up several times during the night." To shrink your belly, time in bed is not enough. You need quality. The first step of my protocol is what we call light hygiene. At least 1 hour before bedtime, you should dim the lights in your house and, most importantly, avoid blue light from electronics. If you must use your phone, use warm light filters. This signals to your brain that melatonin production can begin. Remember, darkness is a trigger for your nighttime metabolism. The second pillar is bedroom temperature. Your body needs a drop in internal temperature to initiate deep sleep. A room that is too warm keeps your metabolism alert and prevents the GH peak. The ideal environment is a slightly cool bedroom. A warm shower before bed also helps, because once you leave the shower, your body quickly loses heat, inducing deep relaxation. In addition, silence and total darkness are essential. Any small light leak or noise may not wake you up completely, but it's enough to pull you out of deep sleep and keep you in lighter stages, where fat burning is minimal. In the field of nutrition and supplementation, the secret lies in mineral balance. Magnesium, especially in the forms of bisglycinate or malate, is a relaxation mineral. It helps calm the nervous system and improves the quality of brain waves during sleep. Inositol is also a fantastic ally because it improves insulin sensitivity and promotes more continuous sleep. And the golden rule: your last meal should be eaten at least 3 hours before bedtime. As we've seen, going to bed with a full stomach and high insulin blocks growth hormone and interrupts metabolic cleansing. Another technique I've taught during my 15 years of practice is mental offloading. Stress about the next day is one of the biggest causes of high nighttime cortisol. Take a piece of paper and write down all your tasks and concerns for the next day before going to bed. By putting it on paper, you give your brain permission to release those thoughts. This reduces activity in your amygdala and allows you to enter the relaxation state necessary for restorative sleep. Finally, consistency. Your biological clock loves routine. Trying to catch up on sleep during the weekend is a mistake. It causes what we call social jet lag, disrupting your hormones again on Monday. Try to wake up and go to bed at similar times every day. By following this protocol, you're not just resting, you're fine-tuning your metabolism. You'll see that as you sleep better, your hunger decreases, your energy increases, and that stubborn visceral fat finally begins to give in. We've reached the end of this lesson, and I hope that from today on you will never again look at sleep as wasted time or a luxury. Sleeping is a biological act of self-respect. Now, you understand that while you rest, your body is working hard, clearing toxins, balancing hunger, and most importantly, using that stubborn visceral fat as fuel to rebuild you. Losing belly fat requires a non-negotiable trio: diet, exercise, and sleep. If you neglect rest, the other two pillars will never be enough. Your metabolism doesn't need more punishment. It needs safety and rhythm. When you sleep well, you regain control of your brain chemistry and stop fighting against yourself. I'm Dr. Harrison Blake. If this content opened your eyes to the importance of rest, share this video with someone who is always tired and can't lose weight. Leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to comment. I will sleep better tonight. Remember, a healthy waistline begins with a good night's sleep. See you in the next video.